Hey team, welcome to the Film Slice podcast. I'm your host Brody Richards. With me today we've got Angie Wangy Legged Baggedy Gaggedy and Kane Diggly Jordans. Welcome. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Hey team, Angus Dragon here, and welcome to the Film Slice podcast. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Kane Diddly Willy King Dogs.
Hello.
And Brodley to do Broadman Richards.
I'm back.
He's back.
Oh, welcome
Second
back.
show. This week we are reviewing Ant-Man and the Wasp. Kane Dogs, hit us up with your classic IMDb summary.
Okay, I will. As Scott Lang balances being both a superhero and a father, Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pym present an urgent new mission that finds the Ant-Man fighting alongside the Wasp to uncover secrets from their past.
Mysterious. Not at all. That pretty much sums it up.
That's the whole thing.
That's pretty much the movie.
Good night, everybody. We're done.
When did you see the movie? What'd you think?
When did you see the movie? What did you think? Do you like the movie? None of the shit.
Kane Dogs.
I saw the movie Thursday night, opening night in Australia, and wasn't a fan.
That's like the general location. Just saw it in Australia.
Australia.
somewhere.
I saw it in Australia. No, that's when it came out in Australia.
Really trying to
I'm just
hide from the fans.
no. I just figure like
Maybe Australia. Maybe not Australia.
Maybe not Australia. Australia just doesn't have enough.
Actually, you know what?
Advertisement. So I just thought.
Definitely Australia and not Europe, because all of Europe aren't getting Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
They're not getting it for like another month because of the World Cup. Yeah.
Crazy.
So all the release dates have been pushed back.
Suck that.
Yeah.
Insane.
Ripped
There's
off.
going to be so many pirated copies of that film.
Oh, yeah.
But so brought to you by Australia. I think we can officially say that. Sponsored by Australia.
I don't know if we can officially say it.
No, we've said it.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, wasn't a fan. Not
a fan.
No.
Okay, Broadman. When did you see the movie? What'd you think?
I saw it on Thursday, the release date in New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was good. I really enjoyed this one actually.
Sponsored by New Zealand.
Oh no, we can't say that.
Oh okay.
We can't.
Sorry.
Really liked it.
Cool.
Angus,
Really?
where'd you see it?
Wait, did you actually really like it?
Yeah.
I don't believe him. This is a
Why
terrible
not?
film. Anyway, go on, Angus.
We'll get into it. Well, I saw the movie late last night.
Of course you did.
Would be lying if I said I didn't have a bit to drink beforehand.
So this is your favourite film ever.
My memory is a bit hazy on the film.
Yeah,
but
Keanu Reeves in it, right?
I thought it did, yeah.
Yeah, we go.
And probably Dwayne The Rock Johnson and probably Jack Black playing a teenage girl.
There are a lot of things in this movie that I really liked, and there are a lot of things in this movie that I really didn't like. But like overall, it was a fine film. It was like, it's not a bad film. Would you recommend it? Who do you recommend it to? Kane Dogs.
We are smashing this podcast with as little enthusiasm as possible.
I've got enthusiasm.
You want some bloody enthusiasm, Jordan? I'll give you some. So I would recommend this film.
Keep the enthusiasm up, Brody.
Yeah, I will. I reckon that pretty much anyone can kind of get this film, even if you haven't really seen the first one. Seeing the first one will help, but it's not really necessary. All of the jokes landed for me, so that was all really good. And I reckon I would recommend this to most people. There wasn't any super adult stuff. There wasn't any super kiddie stuff. So it can kind of hit a wide range of people, which is pretty much what Marvel's going for.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think that they hit that. Yeah, go see it. Jordan, over to you.
I would, I guess I'd recommend this. I think this film is entertaining as long as you don't think about it too much. I'm just disappointed because the quality of Marvel films we've had recently is at a point where you should be able to think about it and dissect it. That's some of the fun of the current Marvel status, is the conversations that you have about the film and how they interweave them so delicately into other films, and all the little sort of things that you can look at and think that they really thought through the physics of it and stuff like that. And so I guess if you want to watch this film just for entertainment value, but you're not the type of person to think about films really hard, then sure. But if, like me, you are... Fuck off. Were you doing that on purpose or not?
What?
Oh, Angus is shining light into my face
sorry.
using his phone.
Sorry.
And
I
it
have a
looked,
shiny
the
phone.
way Angus was sitting and posed himself, and
Sorry.
the way that it was hitting me directly in the eyeball made me think that Angus was purposely trying to throw me off my already pretty shit game. No, I think...
Agree.
Yeah. This...
All those in favour?
Aye.
No, I just think I love watching these Marvel films, and then even separately from Avengers and other Marvel films, I like being able to dissect it and look at it. And just the more I thought about this film,
As in,
the
like,
more
where does it fit in the universe and all
not
that
just
kind of
that,
stuff?
but just generally, I like to look up, like whenever I watch a superhero film, I sort of make an exception for the superpower, and then think about how that superpower is used to fit within the physics of reality. So, for instance, you take Captain America, you give him super strength and super speed, but then I like seeing how that is used and
It makes any situation they're in more...
and choreographed into a world of physics, right? So a world where nothing else is different except him.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they do that really well. Like they set boundaries on what he can do, they set boundaries on what he can't do. If he punches someone, that person flies away. They keep consistency. With this character, they've given him some outrageous powers, but I'm willing to make that the exception as long as they then base it in...
on their own reality.
On a
Their
reality
own
that
created reality, yeah.
for the rest of for the rest of the world should still have physical laws. And this movie just is super inconsistent with his abilities, super inconsistent with how it reacts to the rest of the world. Yeah, just wasn't
I
a
would say
fan.
that's the truth about every Marvel film.
This one more so for me. This one more inconsistent.
I would recommend it. I think it's definitely worth a watch if you have been keeping up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and who hasn't?
Oh look,
Not a lot of people.
my sources tell me that this movie is a must-watch if you're following the whole Marvel plotline.
That I disagree.
Well,
I'll
if
tell
you're
you why
following
later.
if you're following the whole Marvel plotline, then yes, because you're following the whole Marvel plotline.
the current Marvel status quo, this movie is imperative in order to make sense of what comes next.
Cool. Yeah, I would recommend it. I thought the jokes really landed for me.
Yep, all
I
the
thought
jokes landed.
The humor was really good, and it was different to other MCU humor. Like, it had its own taste to it, which was nice. I guess definitely probably influenced by Paul Rudd. And I would say this movie is probably more PG than other MCU films.
Yeah.
Like, I would definitely recommend this to a younger audience. Like, a lot of the jokes and stuff, they're very clean and like all that kind of stuff. So would recommend it. Hey lads, every week I put up on Instagram, and not Twitter this week because I forgot.
So not every week, but most of the time.
I put up which film we're reviewing, and then I ask our slicey slices what they thought of the film.
And
if
usually
they've
they
seen
reply with a comment that's irrelevant to the question.
it. Well,
We have another one.
Guess how many we got?
I'm going to say 2.
We got 1.
I'm never right.
This is from Wreck My Podcast. Another podcast on Instagram.
Wait, how do we know I'm not being trolled? Is he just trying to wreck the podcast?
No, it's called Wreck My
Is this
Wreck My
Jordan
Podcast.
trolling the podcast?
No, I don't up to it immediately. I do it in my own name.
Yeah. Does that mean it's me?
Oh my God.
Ooh.
This is from Wreck My Podcast, another podcast on Instagram. Go suss them out and let them know
Let
how
them know
good
if
we
we're
are.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send a message and tell them if we're any good.
They say, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and just predict I liked it. And did you see that post-credit teaser? I haven't yet, but I know it was great. Which is something I do want to dive in on.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't wait after the full credits.
Look, we'll tackle it in spoilers.
I think we'll tackle it in spoilers, yeah.
Just don't.
But, yeah, I got a lot to say about that, actually.
I got a lot to say about a lot of things.
Anyway, that's what our Slicey
I have
Slices...
some stuff to say.
So that's what the Slicey Slices had to say about Ant-Man. Moving right along, is there anything you want to touch on before spoilers? I think we pretty much wrapped it up. It's another MCU film. It's not the best, it's not the worst. Let's head on to spoilers.
Oh, what a cool sound effect, Angus.
Special guest onto the podcast, Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd, did you enjoy working on the film?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, cool.
It's amazing how much you sound like Brody, Paul
Now,
Rudd.
you've got to...
Have you spoken to Brody, who's sitting right next to you? Brody, have you actually
I
spoken
am
to Paul
sitting
Rudd?
here. Nice to meet you.
Now, yeah,
The classic,
Paul Rudd,
classic
you've got...
Paul Rudd American accent.
I know. Well, I put on an accent in all my films.
I didn't realize Paul Rudd was like from Boston, but that's cool.
He was like,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I'm from
I mean,
Boston.
say hi to your
Like-
mother for me.
Say hi to your mother for me, okay?
Well, funny you actually say that, because we've actually got Quentin Tarantino, famous director, just sitting here to my right. Do you want to weigh in at all, Quentin?
No.
He's also from Boston.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Why did we go with Paul Rudd? We should have thrown to Quentin Tarantino immediately. Very clearly, that would have been a much better guess, Angus. You've made a horrible mistake.
Sorry. Most positive thing, Birdman.
First of all, I've got a bit of a cinema dick.
Oh, cinema dick.
Okay, yep.
Bringing
them up.
Weird one.
Yeah.
Whip out your cinematic.
There was a couple or a father and daughter or something along those lines. There was a man and a woman behind me.
Right.
And they weren't sitting
Hold
next
on.
to each other.
You couldn't
which makes
tell?
me think
Wait.
that they were probably related.
Say again.
They weren't sitting next to each other.
Yeah, anytime I go to a movie with my brother, we make sure to sit with a seat in the middle. Otherwise,
Yeah.
people will think it's gay.
And you put your shit in the seat. It makes
Right.
sense. She was playing around with stuff in her
Talking about-
bag for a bunch of the film, and she dropped her phone charger. It bounced down the stairs and hit my foot.
What the hell?
She then spoke to whoever the man was, a little some whispers here and there and stuff.
Plastic bag or paper bag?
And he was like, just get it after the film. Just get it after the film. And she was like, okay. And then a little bit during the film, she walked up next to me, grabbed it, went, sorry. And sat it down. What? What are you doing going through your bag? What are you doing? What are you doing dropping your you dropped it on my foot.
Just get your life together.
I was
Just get your bloody life
so
together.
involved in the film, and then a phone charger hit my foot.
You know what I'm going to say about this, Brody?
What are you going to say about
I'm
this?
going to turn on you, Brody. I would have been polite enough to just pick up the charger and just hand it
I
back
didn't know
to
what
the
it
person.
was. It's dark in a theater.
I would
A
have just-
charger hit
I-
my foot.
I would have picked it up and handed
I
it.
wouldn't have,
I would have handed it
because
back.
I know half the stuff that is under the
Yeah.
cinema chairs.
Angus has worked in
Could-
cinemas.
Yeah, it could be quite gross. K-Nogs, do you have any cinema dicks?
Cinema.
No dicks today.
Cool. I don't think I had a cinema dick. I probably was a cinema dick because I was
Like drunk.
intoxicated, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Is there a rule about seeing a movie intoxicated? No.
There's a rule about taking alcohol.
You're not allowed to take
into the
alcohol
cinema.
in.
Yeah.
But you can...
You can get sloshed as
Unless
fuck
you
and
can
go in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unless you can buy it.
I'm amazed
in
that
the
doesn't
cinema,
happen more
some
often.
Yeah,
cinemas
some
are.
cinemas have, yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to BYO though.
Might double check that before I put this in the podcast. No, I was at birthday drinks beforehand, so I was birthday drink drunk. Not my birthday. Thanks, but
Yeah,
no, not
some
my
of the
birthday.
bastards.
Thanks for everyone that just messaged me happy birthday just then from listening to that. But no, it was
that
not my birthday.
pre-recorded podcast that we
HB,
haven't
mate.
released
Happy
yet.
birthday.
Thanks, man. Not my birthday, but cool.
You are.
Angus, happy birthday.
Moving on.
Do you want to hit us up with your positives?
My positives. I did. I wrote them down because I was like, probably won't remember them. Okay, my most positive thing, I've written this down. Quirkiness and Paul Rudd humor. They used size a lot more than in the first one. Like the first one, he only kind of shrinks down to ant size and then grows back to human size. But this one, there's like a lot of variation.
Well, he
There's
couldn't
different
go.
sizes.
He couldn't
There's
go
like a lot
big.
of he couldn't go big, but like there's a bit where his suit's malfunctioning and he's in a school and he like shrinks to like kid height, so they just put a jumper on him. I'm like, that's fantastic. Like I love that. That was a great joke, and that's like a good use of their using the power for like you wouldn't see that anywhere else.
That
Yeah,
felt like
creating a comedic scene out of
Their
what
power,
they
yeah.
have.
Yeah.
That felt like a Will Ferrell movie to me, though. Like it felt like a different kind of comedy.
I think it was very Paul Rudd. I enjoyed that. I thought that was great. But yeah, so I really like that, and just how Paul Rudd the movie was. Moving on,
Brody,
K-Dogs.
me first.
Yeah, if you want.
The Wasp. I thought she was wicked. I will happily look forward to seeing plenty of films with her in them, without Paul Rudd.
Load faster.
You really have a thing against Paul Rudd.
I really like Paul Rudd. I just really hate... I think they could have done a great job with him as Ant-Man. However, there's a line in Spider-Man Homecoming where Iron Man says, if you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it. And I agree with that. And if you take a suit away from Iron Man, he's still like a billionaire genius.
Billionaire playboy.
If you take a suit away from Spider-Man, he's still Spider-Man. If you take a suit away from War Machine, he's still like a military agent with strategic thinking. If you take a suit away from Batman, who's DC, he's still like expert martial artist, strategist, detective. If you take the suit away from Paul Rudd, He's just a bumbling idiot of an ex-con who can't do anything right.
He's a thief that knows parkour.
No, in the first movie, he's a thief that knows parkour.
This is a sequel. It's a thing. It's a word, Jordan, that
No,
we like to
hold on,
use that
hold on.
like makes some kind
Tell
of
me-
like adds things
In this film,
to a
in this
story.
film, not only does he not use or know parkour, but he also doesn't show any ability to steal or do anything. This entire film is him making mistakes that he would make with or without a malfunctioning suit, alongside a new partner who can do all the things he can do but more, and better and more efficiently. So, I love Paul Rudd, but I don't buy him as a superhero. I'm not like, he's a man of honor with a code. He tries to do the right thing. He's got a big heart, but you need more than that to be a Marvel Cinematic Universe hero at this point.
So that was your positive?
My positive is the
Birdman.
Wasp. I think my positive is the Wasp.
Yeah.
I think the Wasp is awesome. She was a badass. She was charming. She was cool. I think we need more female characters to join the MCU, and I think she's a great addition. Loved her.
Birdman, your most positive thing about the film?
My most positive thing. I really liked Lawrence Fishburne in this film, and I also really liked that there was no kind of specific villain that was pure evil trying to destroy the world.
Yeah.
It was just a very real, understandable person that's been in pain their entire life and wants to stop being in pain.
I have a
Yeah.
huge problem with the villain.
Which is something that I think anyone can connect to. Anyone that's ever been in any sort of pain, it's like, you want the pain to stop. If you'd been living with pain since you were a child, there is no limit that you would go to stop that.
Yeah.
She reminded me of the
And-
bad guys in the Matrix Revolution. The white guys that phase in and out of stuff.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I thought that the whole time.
Are they called ghosts as well?
They're something like that. Yeah.
I think they're called ghosts
Something
as well,
along those
yeah.
lines.
Twins.
Yeah, cool. I actually agree with that. I think there wasn't really any bad guy per se, except for maybe the tech dealer or whatever. He
So
was
what
just
about
like
that random guy who was definitely evil for the sake of being evil?
They weren't
Well,
even. He wanted to get rich.
Yeah.
He didn't need... You could have taken
And-
him out of the
and-
movie and had the same movie.
Without
You wouldn't have the car chase.
yeah.
Boom.
Well, there were already FBI
Debunked.
agents. There were already FBI agents chasing them.
In the car chase.
You could have very easily just made that FBI agents chasing them.
I think it adds like another element.
It was good. I liked the bits where Hank Pym seemed evil as well. Like
That was really good.
the very first time they showed him in the
Yeah.
entire film.
Yeah.
He's standing in the background amongst this like giant piece of technology, and his entire front of his face is in darkness.
Yeah.
And he's got a bit of light on the back of his head, and he just looks like a very like evil character.
Yeah.
that
was a great- that was a great
that I
shot.
bought a lot more, that he would be pushed morally ambiguous very quickly when it came to saving his
Yeah.
wife, whom he feels responsible for losing.
Angus,
Angus, your biggest,
biggest
negative.
My biggest negative. I wrote this down also.
Did you write this down because you were drunk and you were worried you'd forget
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Wow.
I was. Negative. Plot starts with Hank saying that they should start looking for his wife after Paul Rudd goes into the quantum realm and not before. Like, why not try before? That's what I
Because they
wrote.
didn't know he could. They didn't know he could come back.
Yeah, but like, I think what I was trying to get at is that
As soon as he came back, they should have
as
been
soon,
like,
yeah,
go back and get her.
yeah. I think it was just I think the start of the main plot, like the main story arc, was a bit clunky for me. It's like, oh well, because of this and this and this, now that that's happened, we can now do our movie kind of thing.
Fair
So
enough.
I just I felt that was a bit clunky. I do have another negative, but you guys might bring it up
Okay.
also. Cane dogs.
Paul Rudd's character doesn't strike me as superhero in any way. Like, with Chris Pratt's portrayal as Star-Lord, he's immature at points, but at the same time,
He's very good at what he does.
he's really good at sort of, taking on situations and stuff like that. Like, that's his sort of... He's got that sort of Indiana Jones, Han Solo cockiness about him, but under the pump, he's good. He's reliable. And I think it's likable for Paul Rudd to be a character with a big heart that's just trying to do the right thing. And that's a likable story. But for an MCU superhero, I just don't buy him. He's just too much of a character that accidentally gets things right or accidentally just stuffs everything up. And I'm thinking of the big picture in terms of how he fits into the MCU alongside the latest heavy hitters. The other big negative I have with this film is how much it sort of messes up and convolutes the current timeline of the MCU. Specifically talking about the villain and how she's been an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. as an assassin for the past 20 years. But then when Nick Fury was like, which S.H.I.E.L.D. agents do we have? I'm forming a group of people with remarkable abilities. He didn't think to ask the chick that can phase through walls that's apparently been working for S.H.I.E.L.D., even though he's the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. You have to make sure that fits with everything else. You've put so much effort into making sure everything welds together really well.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the problem with like an ever-expanding universe is you've got so many cooks making their own thing and trying to build on these kind of almost finite resource of characters and
the fact that they've successfully done that is what has made the MCU great. In my opinion, one of the biggest achievements they've done is making all these films set in the same universe, and like unless you include the TV series, they don't often step on each other's feet. Like you can watch them all and there's not a lot of plot holes. And this isn't a big one. I watched it and when they were like, yeah, I've been an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. for this long, I'm like, oh, I feel like I would have heard of you by now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It would have been easy to she didn't have to work for S.H.I.E.L.D. It would have been easy for her to just say that she worked as a mercenary or something and it would have been fine. I think they didn't go through this film with a fine-tooth comb before they released it, and 24 movies in, they should be, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are my main negatives.
Fair. Okay. Bradman, your negativos.
Two. First one, where did his wife get the extra clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah, or age. No, well, time isn't a factor in the quantum realm. It said,
No, time works differently in the quantum
well,
realm.
apparently not. She's aged the exact amount. So apparently it doesn't age. Apparently she ages exactly the same and is given food and water.
Well, maybe that's how the time difference is. You age, but you don't need her energy. Boom. She has,
right, yeah.
She has magic powers
So
now.
major plot hole there. Go on.
She has magic powers.
Yeah,
She can just make her own food.
Everything, time and everything is different unless you're her, in which case you will age the exact same way as you would outside.
It wouldn't surprise me if they come back in the next movie and be like, oh no, she's not actually a person anymore. She's just like energy and this is how she
next movie you
decides
say,
to...
But Angus...
This is how she decides
she's
to
dead.
portray herself.
They're all dead.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
And the other thing... is the other thing is at the very end, after all the fucking credits, sitting in the theater making the people wait because they can't clean it until anyone leaves.
Yeah,
waiting 10 minutes to a bunch of credits that no one's reading, just listening to
I like reading them
music.
because there's almost always someone with the same surname as me.
Fair enough. Wow, how vain of you.
Oh yeah, look, Charles Dickhead.
Oh,
got him.
Southburn.
It's not very nice on Charles Dickens, Angus.
So there's an ant playing the drums, which we saw
in the trailer.
about 20 minutes into the film. Actually, there's footage of CCTV footage of the ant playing the drums.
It's also in the trailer. That exact same footage is in the trailer. Yep.
Remember when there was cool stuff at the end of these films?
Well,
remember when Nick Fury's there?
I was thinking about this the other day.
Remember when they all just ate shawarma?
Yeah.
Well,
remember where there's nothing anymore at the end of these films because they all suck now?
Yeah.
Well, I was
Remember
thinking...
when they teased Loki again?
We haven't...
Remember...
God. We haven't had a good end credit scene, in my opinion, since Phase 1. We've got entertaining ones, but juicy ones that would make you just psyched for the next film.
They know the next film that's going to be releasing. How are they not putting better scenes in?
Yeah. So the problem that I find with it is that, like, in Phase 1, is that you were getting rewarded for being...
And they were so good
and they were so good and they were juicy. And now they're kind of... It's basically like the bully in the playground, like, going, hey, do you want to hear a secret? Like, It's just like it's not doing much fan service, whereas like it was a really good
especially
tool
when
in
they
the
know
first phase.
Not only do they know what film they're doing next, they also know they're also shooting another Spider-Man film. They also have already shot the next Infinity War film. We don't know if it's called Infinity War, but for now, it just. For an end credit scene, I liked the first end credit scene. I would have
put the first end credit scene at the very end.
Just swap them would have been much better. Just if they'd swapped them, the argument wouldn't be had. I think one of the problems that I have is that Hank Pym and Hope are on the run, and they have a building that keeps disappearing and appearing, and I feel like it wouldn't be too hard to
Notice
track someone if like they just an entire like building appears in the forest, and FBI knowingly that they have that kind of technology still has to be given a hint of where they're based. Like they're not using cameras or satellite or literally anything to track them. An entire building went missing and they didn't decide to look for it. Like, I feel like if you're hiding, the most undiscreet thing you can do is take an entire building with you.
Yeah, that's true. That kind of opens up a few plot holes of like how the shrinking and stuff works, because like if you have to be in a suit or like an enclosed
there's a lot
thing,
of sort of plot holes with the shrinking and growing stuff.
Yeah, and now were ants always able to grow? I guess there was like a big
they
kind of thing, but
do it in the
They
first
grew
film.
one last time, yeah.
yeah.
But it's like there's a lot of sort of
I think if you try and look into this movie too much, like inevitably, if you try and look into any movie too much, inevitably there's going to be plot holes.
I think the plot holes in this one are
bit of disbelief.
more visible though.
Yeah.
This has the least effort we've had in Phase 4 in terms of creating a film that covers its tracks. This film felt like the laziest film we've gotten since Iron Man 2 to me. This felt like a film that they rushed out to try and get something in between, like after Infinity War.
Disagree.
Yeah?
I didn't have any problems with any big plot holes. Like, just like making a building disappear and stuff. Like, and it's like how the FBI wouldn't realize that. It's like satellite isn't that good. It's like they have to wait for satellites.
But they're
to go
looking
over a
for
place.
someone that has that technology.
Yeah.
So if I tell you there's a
Imagine
guy that can
looking
grow
for
and
someone that can shrink. That's impossible.
Yeah, no,
You just made the world like a million times bigger for that person to hide in, right? So I feel like that's insane. And like putting a building up in a forest, it's like, unless you knew that, they can be anywhere in the country.
I just think it's
in a miniature version of whatever they're taking with them.
I just think if you're trying to hide, don't tell me that they're on the run and they're shrinking entire buildings and regrowing.
They weren't shrinking in the entire year. I'm pretty sure they were just based in that building that year. And it's like then they decided to shrink it to bring the whole mechanism.
I think like I still stick by like my thoughts at the start of the podcast, which was it was good fun. Like I enjoyed the shrinking of the building and like that kind of use of size and everything. Like it's good fun.
Interesting, you just said it. I just said it now, but because Angus said it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I said
Yeah, I
it
know,
because
but you meant to say gotcha. So you can punch Angus and I can punch. I'm not punching your hand.
Ow. I gift my punch to Jordan.
Just so you know, before this, I got out a thesaurus, and from now on I'll be using the word fascinating.
It's a good way to stop a podcast.
I said it earlier in the podcast, and I made sure that you guys didn't hear it.
Lol.
I counted to 3.
I totally didn't even remember that.
I knew Angus wouldn't remember that. I've been waiting for him. Brody bet me to it.
Where was I?
The way they grow and shrink stuff.
Yeah, it's more fascinating.
By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, in the last podcast we established that if you say the word in which was just spoken, someone who picks up on it will get to punch the other person. Go back and listen if you're confused. It's fine.
So it's a good way to put the brakes on the podcast.
It's a more fascinating
Angus was
use
talking about
of the technology.
No, you're using fascinating. You stole
yeah,
it,
I
you
thought it was
bitch.
funny.
You were talking about the way that they grow and shrink stuff and how you found that interesting.
Gotcha. Angus, I give you my punch.
Ow.
Okay.
You should never have signed that contract
We really shouldn't
in blood.
have. Okay, so I really enjoyed.
Imagine if we made the word
trying to work around
Imagine if we made the word enjoyed.
No, I found it really fun. The way that they use the size, changing the size up and down and everything, and it was like a lot different to the first one. And I'm willing to suspend my disbelief in order to have that fun, and I think that's a fair trade.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Nugs. Do you
Yeah.
have any idea on how we can finish off this little potty?
I've spent the past 3 days just finding other uses for the word fascinating, if I'm honest.
Okay, considering you didn't really have
A theme? Not honestly, we do impressions.
See,
for
no,
10
we
minutes.
didn't have
I-
anything
I'm gonna-
usable in the last few minutes.
I'm gonna put forward this. You have one of those little ring thingies that Ant-Man can throw to
I
an
thought this
object
was going in a completely different direction. I guess.
that can grow something to
Or shrink.
no
Okay.
grow something like 10 times its size. What do you grow? Can't say dick.
Okay, I was totally waiting for John to say so I could say dick.
Look, I would have if it weren't that Angus said 10 times, and that's just
Well, that's just
ridiculous. If I'm honest,
10 times. I mean, 10 times isn't
10 times 11
What's
inches.
10
is
times
just-
8? It's basically just another person. just on you.
I'm gonna hold on to my disc. I'm gonna buy myself a cute little puppy, and I'm gonna raise my puppy and train it well to know when to sit and to all of that sort of jazz. And I'm gonna make it quite a loyal
And
puppy.
don't eat small things.
And then I'm gonna grow it to be 10 times its size.
okay. So
And then I'm just gonna go broke in the amount of dog food I'm gonna have to buy for the fucking thing.
so a big dog.
A big dog.
Big dog.
I'm thinking big dog.
Fair.
Brody, what are you growing?
Okay, the bitch answer would be to say to like buy a small amount of gold and then make it a big amount of gold.
Ooh, yeah.
But
I was gonna
think
I was actually thinking about money, and then I'm like, oh no, then I've just got a massive $10
got
note.
a giant piece of paper that blows away the wind.
You're an idiot.
I'm an Ant-Man.
Yeah, basically.
That is
I love how on board you were with that. You're like, fucking yes.
You know what? You know what I'm gonna grow? I'm gonna go Brody. I'm just gonna grow Brody to be rampage size Brody,
fair. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
and then it's just you.
And
And
then
then it's Brody versus the dog.
But I'm still thinking puppy aged dog.
Oh, well, Brody
but
would
in
win.
comparison, the dog is normal size to me. So it's just me with a dog.
It's just Brody kicking the
It's
shit
me
out of
with Jordan's dog.
You've been listening to the Film Slice podcast.
Sure
we
have. really appreciate
it. If you enjoyed
Very
listening to
much
this, you can find our other episodes
You can.
on iTunes and
Up to
YouTube.
episode
You can
27.
also contact us on Instagram at Film Slice Pod
Don't forget
and
Twitter.
Twitter
Instagram.
at film
Did you do
_slice
Instagram?
_pod.
SoundCloud
And we're on SoundCloud.
and iTunes and stuff. Yeah, cool.